Hello class, good to talk to you again in another video, and in this module we have learned the A/B testing, which basically is comparing two groups of data and to see whether these two groups have significant difference or not. For example, if we are putting on a new product, we need to compare this new product with the old product and to see if the sales record goes up or not. So, so in this assignment, we will put this into practice and to see how to compare the difference between two groups. So let's first read in some data. This is baby's birth records data you see in the reading material. So I'm reading this as a data frame, and let's see how this data look like. Okay, sorry, I have to rerun it. Sometimes if you haven't run this code, or you run this code earlier, and then if your Jupyter notebook died, your server died, you may have to run this again. So let's look at this data. This some records about woman's pregnancy, and the first column is the baby's birth weight, and these are other information about the moms, and the last column is whether the mom was a smoker or not. And we'd like to investigate whether the mom is smoke or not affect the baby's birth weight. So usually how we approach this, we'd like to divide this data into two groups, right? The one group is moms who were smokers, and the second group moms were not smokers, non-smokers, and we'd like to compare the weight, the average weight of these babies, and to see whether there's a difference or not, right? So let's get this number, okay? How we get this number in Python? We have a function called group by, and we can group by its, so we can group by this column, whether moms are smoker or not, and then it will give us two data frame. One data frame is moms with smoke one moms, and second data frame is moms non-smokers. Okay, so let's give this column, which column we need to group by. That is the maternal smoker, this column. So the result of this function will give us two data frame, kind of two data frame. It's actually one object and with two data frames. So the data it will return is actually look like this. So it will return like one data frame with all the moms, non-smokers, and the information, the records. And then there will be another data frame with a data frame in the object with moms or smokers. Okay, so what we'd like to do is to calculate this mean, right? The mean of this column. So first, we need to get this column. How do we get this column? That is by this function. You can just tell it which column you need to get. And then you apply the function. The function I want to use is I want to get the mean value of all the records, mean value of all the records because there's a nonsense to there's no value to get the sum, right? Because there may be, hey, 10 records here, or there may be a hundred records here for smokers, non-smokers, and there may be 200 records there for non-smokers. So um, it's nonsense to compare the sum. But instead, we need to compare the mean. So how can we compare the mean? Is to get the mean is to use this function, and we print it out. And it just gives us the number we want. So for non-smokers, okay, false. So non-smokers, the birth weight is 123. And for smokers, true, their birth weight, the average birth weight is 130. So it does look, have a significant difference, right? Does it really have significant difference? Let's look at this picture I draw, and you will know. Um, the complication in this problem. So here I have this chart, this box plot, right? Box plot, and we assume this is a non-smoker, and this is a smoker. So this is a non-smoker, okay. Uh, So from this box plot, it looks at the average birth weight of this group is obviously higher than this group. However, if we look at this chart, if we come to this chart, the mean value could be still this actually represents the median number, right? But the mean value of this box plot could still be higher than this plot. However, there are difference between these two groups. From the range of this data, there's no significant difference between these groups. They almost the shape is almost at the same level, right? So only look at the mean value doesn't we cannot confirm from the mean value that there's a significant difference between these two groups. So more accurately, we need to look at the box plot or look at the histogram of the data to see whether there's really difference or not. And I usually like to use the box plots. So let's draw a box plot of this data. And in the previous lesson, we used the matplot library. That library, that package to draw all kinds of charts, and actually pandas also come with some charts. So we can just use this data frame. This is the data frame we have, the original data frame we have, and we can just say box plots. And in this function, we tell it which column we need to calculate. The value we need to calculate, the box plots. So the value we need to calculate is the birth weight, right? We want to draw the box plots of the birth weight, the box plots of the birth weight, and we want to group by whether they are smoker or not. So let's tell this to this function. Box plots and the column equals birth weight, and the by group by equals maternal smoker. From this result, I would say the birth weight of this group is definitely slightly higher, not not largely higher, but slightly higher than this group, right? In statistics and in the readings from this module, you have learned hypothesis testing, which basically we have two hypotheses. The null hypothesis is there's no difference between these two groups, and the alternative hypothesis is there's a significant difference between these two groups. And we use the p-value to um, to 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 use the p-value to show the probability of the null hypothesis. And if the p-value is smaller than 0.05, that means that the null hypothesis is unlikely to happen, and we accept the hypothesis testing. We accept the alternative hypothesis that there's a difference between these two groups. So next, we are going to generate this p-value in Python. It's really easy to get this data. What we can do is first, what we can do is to use this function and this library. Okay, you have to check whether you have installed this library in Anaconda in your software or not. So if you search this science pi, then it will show whether you have installed or not. If this is not here, it doesn't display here, you have to switch to this panel not installed, and it should show up here, and you can apply to install this package. Okay, so here for my software, and if you use the Anaconda, I believe by default it is installed. Right, so I can just run it and to see whether you can successfully import it or not. And for this function, it's actually very easy. I just need to tell the two groups of data I want to compare. Here I want to compare the birth weight of smokers and non-smokers, right? So how can I get this data? With the group by function, we mentioned that I actually get two data frames in one object, and the first data frame is smokers, and the second data frame is non-smokers. So I can actually get this data through the group by function. So with the group by, and use the group by here, so I can just copy this information. And I'll give it a new name called data frame grouped, okay? And with this grouped object, and I can apply one function called get group. So I can get the two groups. One group is with the value false, and the second group is the value true, right? So the value I give it is a false, and I can get to the second group. Can use it. I can name it as a DF non-smoker, and that's a DF smoker. And let's print out to see what it returns. DF smoker. As you see, it returns us a data frame of all the smokers, right? So how can I get this column? It's really easy. we have learned the index location. You can use this code, smoker dot ilog all the rows, and I want to get the first column, so you can write 0, and that works. Or you can just write you can just write this birth weight to this column name to get it, okay? And I will give it a name called birth weight. I'll just say weight of a non-smoker. Okay. This is a smoker actually. Weight of a smoker. And the second one, I'll name it weight of non-smokers. And instead of using this data frame, which data frame should I use? I should use the data frame of non-smokers, right? Okay. Now I get these two groups of data. One group is the weight of non-smokers, and the second group is the weight of non-smokers. And now I can give this data to the function test. Test. But actually, there's some problem because this is a data frame. I need to convert this to a list. So as you see, if I give these two data to this test function, it will, oh, actually it works as well. Okay. So this gives us the p-value here. This p-value has the scientific notation. So this e negative 18 actually means 10 powered by negative 18. So this number is really very, very small, right? So the p-value is very small, which means that we reject the null hypothesis and accept that there's a significant difference between these two groups, the birth weight of these two groups. So this verifies what we have observed from the box plot. So in the assignment, I will ask you to use what I demonstrated in this video to compare two groups of data from another data set. Okay. I hope you enjoy what you have learned from this video and transform it into your own knowledge by practicing with the assignments. Okay, and if you have any question, as always, just contact me through email or through my phone number.